Let's take a look at another trigonometry word problem. This problem should be familiar to you as a problem that was on the final. Okay, this says a person standing on level ground is 3,000 feet away from the foot of a 1,732 foot tall building. And it says, to the nearest degree, what is the value of x? Well, in this case, x is an angle, which we can tell by looking at the diagram down here. If you look at this diagram, you see that x right there is representing an angle, which immediately we should be thinking of, when I need to find an angle, that means I need to either use the inverse sine, the inverse cosine, or the inverse tangent. But which one should it be? Well, if that's my angle, what is the name for the side that's across from that angle? The name for the side that's across from the angle is the opposite side. And if this is my angle right there, then what is the name for the side that's next to it? That, of course, is the adjacent side. So which one, the inverse sine, the inverse cosine, or the inverse tangent, should use an opposite and an adjacent? To remember that, I'm going to go ahead and use the idea of so, ka, toa. Which of these uses an opposite and an adjacent? Not this one. Does this one use an opposite and an adjacent? No. This one uses an opposite and an adjacent, and that's the tangent. And so let's set this up by using the tangent and solving for x. On the side over here, I am going to write the problem down by using the tangent. So I have the tangent of my unknown angle is equal to the opposite. In this case, the opposite is 1,732 feet over the adjacent. Let's remind ourselves what the adjacent was. The adjacent was 3,000 feet, so I put 3,000 in the denominator, 3,000 feet. The goal is to get x, and the way we undo a tangent is by using the inverse tangent on both sides. So the inverse tangent of the tangent of x is equal to the inverse tangent of 1,732 over 3,000. We're just doing the same thing on both sides. That's all we're doing. The inverse tangent of the tangent of x is x, because the inverse tangent and the tangent cancel each other out. On this side, we have the inverse tangent of 1,732 divided by 3,000. You really do need a calculator to do that. I'm typing it in the calculator right now, and what I get is, I press second, and then tangent to give myself the inverse tangent, and then I have 1,732 divided by 3,000. When I hit enter, it tells me that that comes out to be x equals 29.9992. But remember, this problem was asking us to find the value of x to the nearest degree. That means to the nearest whole degree. And so rather than writing out all kinds of decimal numbers, the whole numbers start right there. When I round this up to the nearest whole number, that gives me x is equal to 30 degrees. And that's the answer to this problem.